What is up, everyone? Welcome back. You have now tuned into another episode of Let's Talk About It. I am JR Wisdom, along with my beautiful host here, the great, lovely Miss Avery Woodley. And tonight, guys,
Hello.
what's up, Avery? What's up, Avery? How
What's
you doing this evening?
up? I'm good. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever, and we were just on here last week. Maybe because I was out of town and like frazzled, and then you did a little bit of traveling, which I'm going to ask you about. But I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever, so like I'm good. Um, just before I came on here, I met a friend for like a brief happy hour. My girl, we caught up a little bit. So I'm like, my belly's full.
Hmm.
Um, Everything's good. So happy to be here. And I'm excited about this little topic. Hopefully I don't say anything too crazy. So how are you, JR?
Man, I haven't eaten yet, as I think last time I told you that, because I'm on this
Yes.
shed campaign. So I'm deciding to have a little libation while we're talking, and I'll eat afterwards, and it's
Okay.
gonna be glorious. But Avery, as usual, living the greatest days of my life. I feel the same in terms. Haven't seen you in a week.
I
It
know. It
seems
seems
like
like a little
longer.
bit longer. You looking all fancy.
Yeah, you as usual. With your pink dress on. You know what I mean? So
We know it's
you
not a
know, it's
dress, but I'm going to, you know what? I might stand up and show people what it is later, even though this
not.
isn't going to talk about BBLs, but you know.
Yeah, they're gonna go crazy because that's all. I'm surprised somebody didn't take a clip and just made that into a separate video, Avery Woodley's BBL or something like that. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So, but yeah, traveling is dope. You got some traveling in, had definitely took some time out, which is glorious. As
Yes.
usual, to reset and things like that. So definitely dope. This topic, I know we talked about it offline for you guys who are watching. This has been a conversation. I've had experiences with this, and Avery's had some experience with this as well. And a lot of you guys may play oblivious, especially the ladies. Some of you guys will try and yeah, for sure. Some of you guys will try and be like, "Gr, it's not like that." I have plenty of female friends and things like that. But I understand. I'm gonna tell you straight up what a man is thinking. You know, despite what some women may seem to be shocked and things like that.
I was that
So
woman, but we'll get to that.
yeah, sheesh, it's cold. It's cold out here, and I just want the women. And maybe I might be just a different type of man, but from the conversations or this locker room talk, as they say, and just proper decorum of the way you should be conducting yourselves around others, whether it be your a
Yep.
significant others, you know, a friend's significant other, for lack of a better term. This stuff happens, and you'd be surprised. So,
Mm-hmm.
like I was saying, Avery, I'm going to play this clip.
All right,
A
let's
lot
do
of
it.
people have an yeah, a lot of people have an issue with this gentleman who I'm going to be playing the clip of. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to run it, guys. Anyway, before we get into it, as usual, a few housekeeping rules. Go ahead and hit that like button. Stop playing around. Hit that subscribe button as well. Also, subscribe to Avery's channel. It's linked in the description, as well as the title of the video if you haven't. We're pushing towards 9,000 for Avery. I believe you almost got 8.5 right now. You know what
I
I'm
don't know what
saying?
I got, but I'm telling you guys, you better hit that like button. Now, I've been more consistent on YouTube. You know, I'm always going to be on JR stuff or whatever. That's just how we roll, like stronger together. But I just haven't been on there like the last week and a half just because I was traveling, getting the kids ready to get back to school. Soccer's picking up. My two boys play elite soccer. So,
Nice.
I'm a mama first. So I got to tend to
Absolutely.
them. But you guys have not gone anywhere. So, yeah, just hit that like button and keep showing up for me and JR.
Absolutely. Shout out to Avery and shout out to the kids. We do it for the kids and grown
Right.
folks. That's what this is for, not for jokers. So I'm gonna play this clip, guys. Also, this is a live call-in show, so you'll see the link pinned in the chat if you want to share your thoughts on this. We highly encourage it, as well as there's a poll where I'm asking you guys the question of can men and women be platonic friends, and we'll also be discussing as well the fact of can you actually be friends with your ex, despite you guys being broken up and continuing on and moving on your journey. So we'll be discussing that as well. So appreciate you guys in advance for hitting that like and subscribe button for both my channel and Avery's. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip. Hopefully this thing doesn't act funky on me. I think there's like a delay with it. And I think there is a delay. There we go. So sorry about that, guys. There's StreamYard acts funny sometime, but we're gonna go ahead and run it. So I'm gonna go ahead and run it right now, Avery, and go ahead and mute these. So let's get into it.
So where did this come from?
I mean, it's a blessing, true enough, but really, it was just me sitting down being honest. All of my friends are men. I don't have female friends. I don't. I'm incapable of that.
Why? What do you mean?
Well, because come on.
Because you have a wife.
Well, I have a wife, and I don't really have female friends because look. Okay, let's get rid of this myth right here. Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. Let's get rid of this right here. You're an attractive woman. There's some guy somewhere saying, "Yeah, we're friends." No, that's not true. He's your friend only because you have made it absolutely clear that nothing else is happening except this friendship we have. We remain your friends in hopes that one day there'll be a crack in the door, a chink in the armor, and trust and believe that guy that you think is just your buddy, he will slide in that crack the moment he gets the opportunity. Because we're guys.
Men think this way?
99.9% of us think that way. And you tell this to a woman and it just blows her back. No, I have male friends. You have male friends because they know it can be done.
He said blows her back.
I tell you what, all your male friends, just ask them in a friendly way. If I wanted to date you, would you be okay with that? And watch the fireworks. Watch. I'm telling.
Advertising on YouTube.
So sorry about that. There's definitely a delay with that, but
I've seen that video. And
wow,
I think
this is what do you think about that?
Okay, so look.
For sure, yeah, I know it's actually almost 10 years old, but go ahead.
It doesn't matter. The conversation is still relevant. It does not matter. So look, I was at one point the chick, or the woman that was like, oh, you can have guy friends, people can have guy friends or whatever. And I have seen some relationships where people do have, that's a whole nother thing, right? They have friends of the opposite sex. But I have come to find out, even in those relationships, and we're talking about heterosexual, like, it's not the girl. Everybody wants to have a saucy Santana. Not me. I don't do that mess. Whatever. I don't have, I don't use gay men.
I'm going to get into that too. We'll get into I'm gonna get into that too.
We'll get into that. But okay, so just a man and a woman. Yeah. Actually, my ex-husband at one point, my ex-husband, one of his best friends from childhood when he played Little League football and she was a cheerleader, they may have been third grade, was a girl. Right? He was actually in their wedding. He was, a groomsman, but like in her wedding. I understood that dynamic as I met him, right? And some people can say like, oh, you did your research, but literally third grade. So there's few instances where it works. In general, though, I think even when you have relationships like that, somewhere along the way, somebody's going to fall in love. Even if nothing physical has ever happened, if you have somebody of the opposite sex, you guys are both heterosexual, and you can talk to them, you can see how their day was, you can laugh, you can cry, you can do all of these things as you grow up and evolve, you're going to fall in love with them, even if the person doesn't know it. I know situations also where some people these friends were in love with each other, and if you brought up, they were like, oh no, not such and, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, and as they face it, they're like, wait a minute. So they even themselves kind of downplayed it. I'm like, no, you're in love. And it makes sense. Like, I get it. Like, no judgment. I get it. Like, you have built this relationship with this person over the years. You have been intimate in so many levels, mental and spiritual and everything. A lot of people are married and don't have that mental and spiritual connection and emotional connection, even with their mate. So you have this in this person. Yeah, hell yeah, you're going to fall in love with them. So I see that. I've also, like I said, let me go back, having this type of woman that used to be like, oh, people can be friends. And then with the opposite sex or, with the opposite sex or with the ex. Especially with the opposite sex. No, I do not believe that. And I had a guy that I was talking to at one point. He was like, no, he was like, every guy that you become cool with or that you think is a mint, whatever, you need to consider the fact that he's looking at you. And yes, he may like you as a friend or whatever, but if the opportunity arises, he would bone, he would hit. Like he wants to hit you. You know what I'm saying? Like not like that, but he wants to hit. And the ball is in your court. And as soon as you crack that window, he's gonna be all in. Now, me, I wasn't necessarily being naive because like I'm like all street smarts and everything, guys. No, but seriously, my thing was I didn't want to come off like the type of woman that felt every guy wanted me. So I have always gone above and beyond to downplay when a guy speaks to me or looks at me, and I'm like, I just don't want to be like, oh, girl, he wanted me. Ooh, this, ooh, that. So even when it comes to guys like, oh, hey, what's up? I'm like, oh, no, I don't think he's interested or he may not be interested. And this guy that I was talking to, he looked at me. He was like, and we actually had disagreements and arguments because I didn't understand where he was coming from. And I was like, well, I can't. He said, I'm telling you as a man how men think. I was like, I am not a man. I am not thinking like a man as I move around throughout life. And he was like, I'm not saying that, but you need to be aware that, yeah, they may not, press the issue with you. They may be kind of hands off, but they're there hoping, in the wing, hoping that they get a play. And I'm like, okay, got it. And now I do see it, right? And I see it, I get it. And so I honestly believe that no, ideally, 90% of the time, men and women cannot be platonic friends, especially if you have any type of history there or if there's any type of attraction. And of course it takes two, but and did you ask me about exes or no? You guys know I had a martini before I got on here. I only had one martini, but I hadn't really ate today. I had some bone broth and some coffee, so I don't remember the rest.
Shout out to the bone broth. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Did you ask me about exes yet, or you just asked me in general about men and women?
No, we didn't. We didn't get into the exes yet. I know you were just saying you were just talking about your ex-husband and his childhood friend,
right?
Growing up, which I believe, like, you have some people along the thought process of, well, if you knew them elementary school, it doesn't count. And I'm in total agreement with you. Bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a bond there. Sometimes the glow up is real when it comes to that, and you never know. My thought process is like, I definitely hear a lot of women that, like, just like Steve said in the video, I know he used the wrong term in the time. He was like, the women will have their back blown out when they find out that this guy actually wants you or actually likes you, and he's just waiting in the cut. And what we call those guys are orbiters. Same thing if you're married and you're dating a girl and everybody seems cool. That's why it's like, when you're around, and I hear a lot of women when I've done videos on this, they'll be like, well, he knows my boyfriend. He knows my husband. As if that's supposed to make something better or different, or he loses attraction.
We try to, we try to water it down.
Yeah. Oh, he could never want me. He could never have. He knows my boyfriend or my husband, and things like that. Knowing that people have gotten together, people have. What's Bobby Womack married? Buddy, Sam Cooke's. He married Sam Cooke's wife. I mean, this happens all the time with dudes when they pass away and they step in. But if you break up, dudes will slide. I've had a dude that I've known of shoot their shot at my exes, or once I stop talking to a girl, hey man, do you mind if I talk? You know what I'm saying? All along, you could be up in your face smiling, all these other things, knowing that he would definitely, if given the chance, as Steve said, give him the scenario. Call him up late at night and tell him to pull up. See how much of a friend he is then. If he'll be a friend and show up. Offer him the goods, offer him something, and he will definitely show up. In terms of that, and some guys are like, well, or ladies will be like, well, you're just a pervert, you're just a horn dog to think that people are like that. No, when a man first sees you, he sizes you up and he's already ravaged you. And I've told women this, and they were like, he's ravaged me. He's ravaged me by, this dude, once he sees you, he's already done all these things. He's pictured himself in bed with you, went the whole nine. just by looking at a heterosexual hot-blooded man
Mm-hmm.
will. And I know you mentioned the whole Saucy Santana, which I was going to get into that, which
Well, you
I've
know
said that
what?
to
Let me
women.
watch myself because I don't want nobody coming for me. You know, you can really hardly say anything about anybody.
I'll say it.
And this
So,
isn't look, this isn't anything towards some people. I know some gay men that don't even like the term gay men that are interested in men. This is anything against that. But I'm saying the
not at all.
stereotypical, you know, oh, I'm a girl, I gotta have the gay male, you know, the gay male best friend
Right.
type of thing. And you tote them around like you do a poodle or like a handbag.
Right. Not knowing that a gay man is your competition at the end of the day. But that's neither here nor
Because he's
there.
trying to get the same men you are. Like,
Right. And
that's
here's
a whole
another
other
thing,
thing. I'm
ladies,
not.
that I want you to know. He's still a man at the end of the day. His dick still gets hard in the morning, like a man. He still has,
Mhm.
he's biologically still a man. So you could end up one night and hanging out with this dude. And I know this has happened countless times with women
Yes.
where buddy ends up, a gay dude ends up smashing. I've been
Yes.
hearing stuff about when gay dudes get drunk, just like when you hear studs get drunk. And this is stuff that I'm hearing. They tend to go towards the natural. And when I
Yes.
say natural, the natural affinity when they get
Mhm.
under the influence of something. So you're getting drunk with your gay bestie. Next thing you know, he's on top of you laying pipe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is something that actually happens very often, despite the fact that, you know, the whole thing of a woman's trying to, I want to hang around with this guy because he can teach me some things about men,
Right.
or he can show me, a few tricks,
Mhm.
shit like that. So very, very, very strange. But in my estimation, I've come across women in their 30s, 40s that still think that's not true and that you can still be friends. I'm not saying you can't be friends. The whole thing of is the person has to be completely unattractive. You can't be attracted to the person
Right. And
at
I saw
all.
Gail put that in. Was that Gail? Hey, girl. I think she put that in the comments earlier, saying that usually, like, if a guy says, if a man says, "Oh, that's my homegirl," usually it is a more masculine type of woman in some
Right.
situations, right? And I know guys who their homegirl. Oh, and this brought up an example that I'm going to tell you in a second. But I know guys, and like the homegirl is like, I'm like, oh, she a homegirl. She she like one
Right.
of the dudes, you know, or whatever. Now I'm gonna tell you something that happened. I had a close friend of mine, was a guy friend, and he was like, "Look, Avery," he was like, "Your problem is that." He was like, "I'm not gonna lie." He was like, "You're attractive, right?" He was like, "Now your
Mhm.
conversation and your personality," he said, "it pulls you in like one of the homegirls." He was like, "Because you know I can talk to you about anything and you get it." He was like, and that actually makes it more dangerous because men feel like they can talk to you, but you look like you. He was like, so I'm just letting you know that you can never be friends with a guy. He was like, you can never be friends with a guy because you actually have some of the components that we like when it comes to homegirls. He was like, but you
Right.
look like a girl that we want to be with. And I'm
Absolutely.
not saying that everybody wants to be with me. I'm not saying this was just an example. You know what I'm saying? This was just an example. And, you know, when I used to try to downplay it, like a lot of women do, like, oh no, he's just a friend. Oh, he has a girlfriend. Oh, he's this or whatever. And it's like, girl, as soon he is waiting, he's like this, like a little puppy, like waiting for you to be like, can I, like, oh yeah, you know, so.
I'm there. I'm there totally, man. And that's what you just described in terms of what this guy told you. When you're around a woman like that, you tend to like her more, who's able to sit there and listen. But no, I mean, realistically, I mean, women don't really want to listen to a man's problems when you're sitting there whining about
Right.
other women. Just like men don't want to listen to women's problems. You know what I'm saying? Like I could be listening to the girl I'm fucking, her problems. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Men trade their time for sex, and women vice versa. That's just what it is, and women vice versa. Like I can't see myself, and I'm just being honest at this point. A lot of dudes will sit back and talk to a woman and be her emotional tampon as I like to call it, and just sit back and soak up all of these issues. And she's letting everything off and said, that's my homie. I can talk to him. I can tell him all the things that Buddy's doing and Buddy's not doing and get advice. And then he's just listening to it. He's not getting anything out of the deal except, and I hate to put it like that, he's not getting anything out of the situation. And secretly he made, because I'm just like, if that's the case, you could be spending that time with, and I don't get me wrong, you could be spending that time with a woman that you, or putting that effort or that listening ear with a woman that you actually like or pursue or things like that. Because those issues, I feel like women like to get a man's perspective on things. I get it, because the whole thing about other women being catty and stuff like that, and you can go and tell my business to all your other friends and things like that. So I hear that they would prefer talking to a man and getting a male's perspective, but it's like, if you're calling me, I can see every now and then, but if you're calling me every day and you want me to listen to your issues and you're talking to me almost as if I'm your man, you know what I'm saying? Which, as your man, I should be communicating with you, and you should be telling me what your issues are, and we talk it out and things like that. But if I'm doing all of this and the next thing comes up, paying for lunch, paying for dinner, we doing all these different things, what comes in with that? Hey, do you expect me to pay? You're inviting me or want to do these things, but I'm paying and stuff like that. This stuff happens too as well, and dudes will happily oblige with hoping that will get them somewhere just by, okay, I'm paying for the drinks, I'm taking her, she wants to go this place, so I'm doing that as my friend, but she never offers once to come out of the pocket. It's almost as if this is my boyfriend without benefits.
Absolutely.
In terms of that, so I don't think that's kosher at all.
Right.
As far as that, but it's just that chance. If I do this, it's just that chance that I would be, and a lot of guys will know that she is going to go back to the same person that she's complaining to you about, but they'll sit there and listen with hopes that, man, maybe she'll, maybe eventually she'll see that I'm a good guy. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like that goes on a lot with guys thinking that that's something that, could happen. But what do you think about that in terms of, so let's just say you are friends. How do you feel about that whole paying for dinner and lunch and stuff like that, or one person doing it?
So I feel like if you're friends, so I have, matter of fact, I've had a group of friends, right? And it was like 2 other women and a guy. And we all actually just became friends around the same time. And we would actually all meet out for each other's birthdays and everything like that. And sometimes there were times where I just met the guy like, hey, let's just meet and catch up. It could have been once a month or once every couple months. And we split the bill. Or sometimes it's like, okay, I got it. Especially if it's somebody's birthday or whatever. He may say, okay, it's your birthday, I got it. And then when it's his birthday, I got it. But when there's women who do this, when women are putting the guy in the friend zone and you know that he really doesn't want to be in the friend zone, and you are using him for your companion, for your dates, for you're using him for everything that you want and need from a man, but you're not putting out. And so you're taking his kindness and his love for you or his admiration for you, and you're manipulating it. Right. I think that's a problem. Like, if you know that a man is like wants you and is in love with you, not the ones that are just hidden and they may be like, oh, if I get a chance, but the ones that you say anything and they're going to do it, right? Because they want to please you, because they love you and they are your friend, but they're literally like, they're actually genuine and harmless in it. They can't help the fact that they care for you, and you know that. And instead of you trying to put up a healthy boundary, especially those women that are all about healthy boundaries, right? And not being toxic, but you decide to be manipulative, and you especially use, I'm gonna say something about that feminine energy, and use whatever is attracting to him and to manipulate and twist the situation for your gain. I think that you are absolutely wrong, because you are just draining him and taking advantage of that person. And that happens a lot too. You have a lot of men who are in situations where they cater to a woman and they're not getting anything in return, and the woman knows that the guy would do any and everything for them, and they're using him. And then they're like, oh, but you're my friend. So they'll invite him over when they want to cuddle and watch a movie, when they want all that. Or if they get into it with one of their guy friends that's treating them like shit, but he seems like he's all, I mean, one of the guys they're talking to or whatever, then they'll run back to their guy friend and want him to console them or whatever. And I think that is so cruel. I probably just went on a tangent. I'm sorry, guys, but
you didn't
that's
at all.
That's why I have ADHD. I'm not medicated. This is what I do, right?
Nah, that was very short. You know, that was very, you definitely nailed it. And for you to say something like that, because I know of people that do that. I had a conversation. This was like probably close to a year ago with my brokerage. We went out for like we were just like it was something, you know, brokerage. We had that night out or just going out or whatever, and we met at a bar downtown. So we were talking, and I brought up this topic and about the whole friendship, and basically all the women were like, "No, I can be friends with a man," blah blah blah, all this stuff like that, and all the guys there were in agreement with them. So I was just giving them different examples. And I brought up the question of, so you don't have an issue with that. So you will go on actually get dressed up, go out with your guy friend out to a restaurant or go out for dinner and things like that. And there you don't see an issue with that. Even the men were like, no, I don't have an issue with my wife going out to do that. Mm-hmm. She can go out and get dressed up just like they're going on a date, because at the end of the day, we're grown. This is they're friends and things like that, which many people could say, well, you're being insecure, or I could have been accused, which I think is what they were getting at. You're being insecure, but you're in a relationship or you're married and you're going out with someone of the opposite sex. It's just you two out for a dinner date or a date for whatever. It's basically not even really business. You're getting dressed up, dolled up. Because I don't think a woman's gonna want to go out with a man and not look, you know, a certain type of way if she's going out.
Absolutely.
She's not gonna throw some, regardless of who, you know, how he looks and things like that. She wants to look a certain way. So when everyone was saying that, and I was just looking around like, wow, these are some interesting characters. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I was in New York this past weekend, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. She could be watching. So I was hanging out with a friend of mine or whatever. Didn't try anything with her. She didn't try anything with me. She showed me the city, all those things like that. The thought didn't even cross my mind in terms of doing that. I can say that, but it's basically the way the situation was. And I can be in that type of position, or some people can be in that type of position, which some people think is impossible. So I'm not saying that it's impossible, because that's what I did this past weekend. Didn't do anything, you know, in close proximity, went to dinner, hung out, you know, every night, and didn't do anything. You know what I mean? On the flip side, there was another, and I brought up this situation. There was another realtor, and I was trying to shoot my shot, right? Okay. And I was explaining this story to her. I was shooting my shot. So I was like, yo, I was like, yo, I want to pick your brain, so on and so forth, this, that, and the third. Right. She was like, okay, cool. So I was like, let's meet up at Starbucks. We went to Starbucks. We talked that night or whatever. Conversation was cool, all that stuff like that. She didn't have on a wedding. I didn't think she was married. She didn't have on a wedding ring, and she never posted pictures of her husband and all that stuff like that. So I go to follow up with her, and she's like, she was like, okay, what do you want to talk about? When would you like to meet? What would you like to talk about? I was like, you know, I want to talk about life. You know what I'm saying? What's up? You know what I mean? And she's like, well, I don't know about all that. I mean, we could talk about real estate and all that, because right now, me and my husband are currently working on our marriage. I was like, okay, well, she never said anything the first time about her husband or whatever, but she said it right then and there. And shortly after that, I see photos start popping up of her and her husband having a good old time, and, you know, and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's strictly professional from then on. I never tried. We and her have done deals after that, and I've never tried anything with her after that. You know what I'm saying? But she's not gonna get that attention from me that she might have been getting before, which some
Right.
people may expect that, okay, you were giving me attention before. Now that I said this,
Mm-hmm.
I can't get no likes anymore. I can't get no text. No, no, no. So I just feel like it is possible to a certain extent, but I think men, the nature of a man is strong, and that's why we separate kids, or we're supposed to separate kids at a young age. Even when it comes to sleeping in the bedroom together or sleeping in the bed together,
Right.
regardless of, because they have a natural affinity to explore their gender and explore the other's gender and things like that. You know what I'm saying? There's just a natural,
Mm-hmm.
even, I hate to say it, even if it's brother, sister, cousin, whoever, that's just a natural curiosity and the exploration and, you know, them wanting to be inquisitive in terms of things like that. So
Right.
I think that happens. You can stick two people that may not be completely attracted to each other. And I think you were talking about this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And under the right situation or the right timing, or um, one being more vulnerable than the other, you
Yep.
know, anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? And this does happen. Bro is going out and I happen to stop by, or you need something or whatever. I'm gonna show up and you may show up wearing something that, you know, so this stuff does happen. You know what I mean? I was asked that question one time by one of my exes. So
Mm-hmm.
if she came here with booty shorts on, if she showed up to your door with booty shorts on, wearing this, and this, would you knock her down? I said, hell yeah. But when would
With
that
the
happen?
quickness, blow that back
Yeah,
out.
yeah. But when would that happen? You're just making up scenarios to see what's gonna go on. Like, let's be a real. She gonna show up to my house with booty shorts on or whatever, and I'm
Baby,
just
if
gonna
a
be
woman
like,
shows up to any man's house with booty shorts on, if a woman shows up, this is off topic, to any man's house with booty shorts
you got me
on.
getting flashbacks, Avery. But go ahead.
I know you gotta loosen that tie. Look, your forehead looking shiny.
It's always shiny, man. I always got a greasy forehead.
But I
Yeah,
am
go ahead.
telling you, if a woman with any type of booty shorts on and you knocking on some man's door, girl, you better not say anything. Oh, he tried to. He definitely did try to touch you. He definitely did try to smash. He definitely did touch you because that's what you wanted. Like, I'm just saying. You better believe I'm showing up to somebody's door with some booty shorts on. I know why I'm showing up in booty shorts. Trying to get them cheeks clapped. I'm not showing up in booty shorts, guys.
I should have had that sound bite.
No, I try to let that one slide out. I don't even say cheeks clapped. I don't even know why I said that, but I'm
I
thinking
don't
about
even
booty
say it
shorts.
either. I just start using it because these guys start using it. You know what I mean? That's why I started saying it, man. But you got me. That story I told you, and I was just telling, you know, when I was in New York, I was just telling that same exact story that the young lady I told you about, I fell asleep on.
Yes.
Yeah, she was wearing booty shorts. You know, she got just fresh out the shower. You know what I'm saying? That's a story time I got to do separate for those who didn't hear. But she got out the shower, got in the bed with booty shorts on, and I just, you know what I'm saying? And then that was the end of that. But yeah, that scenario, a man. I mean, you can say I'm a man of strong morals and principles. I get it. You're a man of strong morals and principles. You would never do that. You know, but I think that we can find someone to try. It's the way we find, I think it's different. And a woman explained this to me, and you can basically let me know how you feel about this. A woman can find a man attractive, but that doesn't equate to her wanting to sleep with this man or being sexually attracted to this man just because she finds him attractive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, men, if we find you attractive, a lot of times, and I'm saying there are, regardless of your size, there are some dudes you like BBWs. There's some beautiful BBWs. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not knocking any BBW. There are some beautiful women who are BBWs out there. But if we typically find you attractive, that means that we, like I said, we have ran these scenarios. It's like a split second, like in the movies, how you see everything flash before your eyes and all that
Right.
stuff. We've done all that undressing with eyes and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that from my experience and from my conversation. So if women, and like I said, maybe you can kind of confirm or deny that when you see a man, it's not necessarily that you can just say, okay, he's attractive. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I don't have anything past that. I don't have an attraction for a man past that. And this is a no judgment zone. So for all you guys, oh, she said that she would have sex with a guy. Like, come on, man. It's
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that's really a thing, but that's what I was told from like a few women that I've had conversations with, that it's not always that way in terms of that, or for the majority of the time, it's not that way.
Wait, so repeat the question again because you went out.
So
My bad.
if you see a man like you come across a man, whether you're out at the store or
Mhm.
you are within vicinity of this man, or even on television, for example, but let's
Right.
just say just in person, you see a guy and you say, okay, he's attractive, but that doesn't equal to you wanting to sleep with this guy.
Right.
Is
That's
that
true.
is that that's true? Okay.
Oh no, I am now, and you know what? I'm all ready to always tear down some stuff that women lying about, right? No, but no, that is 100% true. And being as transparent as I can be, like I can see men on a regular, just out on a regular basis, and I can look and be, oh, that's a nice looking man,
Right.
and that's literally my thought. It's not going anywhere else. Or I may
Mhm.
say like, oh, I have a thing about guys that smell good. I'm not saying that like guys that stink, but I can smell their cologne or whatever. Just like how some men like a good smelling woman. So,
Mhm.
I think it was like at a soccer game or something. This was like a couple years ago. It was somebody's grandfather, and I was like walking to the concession stand, so I'm smelling like nachos and boiled hot dogs over
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
And then he walks past me. I think he has on like a Stetson or something. I was like,
Oh, you talking about the hat? Excuse me, because
yeah, the hat. I was like,
they had the Stetson cologne too. But go ahead, go ahead.
I'll do that. I was
Yeah.
like, dang that. I was like, who was I
Who's
was
this
like, is
old
that
ass?
Brandon? I was like, oh, he smelled good. And so I think he might have been going to the restroom anyway. He must have came out, and I think he got like in the line by me, and I was just like, I'm gonna have to say something. And I wasn't even hitting on him. Don't remember what he looked like. I was like, excuse me, sir. I said, I just want to tell you. I think it was hot outside too. I said, oh, excuse me, sir. I said, I hope this doesn't sound weird. I said, I just want to tell you that you smell so good. And he was like, thank
Mm.
you, darling. Whatever, like an older white gentleman, like white hair, whatever. He was like, oh, thank you, darling. And that was it. Right. But he smelled good. So like I see guys all the time that I'm just like, oh, that's a good looking guy. Or
Mhm.
I like his style, I like his dress or whatever. And it really not thinking anything of it.
Right.
There has been, but I'm not gonna lie, a few times, and I'm not gonna say when either, this happened to me because I don't know who could be watching this, and I don't want to get caught up in nothing. No, I'm just kidding.
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, yeah.
No, but let's just say there has been some times one time, and I saw this man, I was like, it is so funny. I don't think I've ever just seen a stranger or seen a man and thought what like, ooh, he could. Maybe I saw this man, but it wasn't even a look thing. I think like I heard his voice, and it was an instance where he was talking to other people, and like we ended up talking like in like a small little group or whatever. And I was just
Mhm.
like, oh baby, forget that. Like, oh,
All
I'm
I
not
do with you
kissing.
is have wild thoughts.
Oh,
Go
baby,
ahead.
I'm
That's how
telling
you.
you, I was like, YOLO. Like, I don't care about if it is a monkeypox or COVID or B12 or FB2. I was like, I don't care what it is. Y'all told him don't touch, don't sneeze on each other. I was like, this man he could get all of this Nubian queen. No, I'm just kidding.
Not the
I did
Nubian
think that
queen.
though. But what I will tell you is that even as, and I'm just gonna be honest, I got blood running through my veins, right? But that's not the norm, right? That is not the
Right.
norm. And even as a woman, a young woman, to me,
Mhm.
a young woman, I still would
For
not
sure.
have necessarily been like all over that, right? It was just a feeling, and I was just like, oh my God. I was like, baby, I got to tell somebody because I ain't never seen no man and wanted to just right then and there. But it happened, it happened. But no, I think normally, no, a lot of women, I can appreciate a good looking man, just like I can appreciate an attractive woman. I look at butts. Yes, I do. I look at people's butts. If a girl I pass, I'm like,
I think all women do that though. Yeah, all
okay, I'm
women do.
looking
So
at
you don't want
butts.
to be ashamed.
Usually, if a guy has on basketball shorts, even if I don't even find him attractive, certain stuff, I just happen like I'm like a meat gaze. I just glance. It has nothing to do, and it's nothing sexual. It's just like I'm a meat gazer, right? Sometimes like, oh, you got on basketball shorts, I'm gonna look. If somebody walks past in leggings, I'm like, oh, their butt looks like this. Oh, their butt looks like this.
Right.
Oh, their butt looks good, But it doesn't necessarily go any further. But that man that I saw, I'm glad I got on a sports bra underneath here because I might I do not have an dress. I might take this shirt off because I think I got hot.
She got on a dress, y'all. She got on a dress. Don't let her fool
I drink some water.
She got on a dress. But since you said that,
but I know him. I could not be friends with him.
So, which is what somebody was saying, like,
oh baby, ain't no way I can be friends with that man.
I think what was the young lady you mentioned earlier? Hey, yeah, I think I got that same superpower he got. But what was that young lady's name? You called her out earlier.
Oh, it was Gail. I think Jared had a question also.
Gail. No, she said something
at the top of the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, she said something though about what you just said about you, like you can be friends with Lizzo.
Oh, I see it right here. Yeah. Let's keep it real. It's at 7:17. Gail. Hey, Gail, girl. She said, let's keep it real. Men can be friends with Lizzo, but men won't be friends with the beautiful Averi Woodley. Thank you, girl.
Yeah.
Would men be friends with Halle Berry?
She put that in the chat, or that was the comment?
She put that in the chat.
Okay, because I read that in...
in the comments. Wait, this comment thing right here from the live.
Okay, so this is the chat, because I know she commented on these community tab. She commented that same thing earlier. So just like I think she said something about Jason Momoa. I could never be friends, or just like women can never be friends with Jason Momoa in terms of that. So Averi, this gray sweatpants is a real thing, and gray sweat shorts, is this a real thing?
I mean,
because I stay strapped. I got my gray, I got my collection, but I just want to know from a woman's perspective, or is this bullshit?
Oh, boy, I thought you had on some gray shorts. You about to stand up. I was ready to say, now, JR, don't you do it.
I don't have my sock. You know what I'm saying? I don't have my sock in. If I had my sock, you know what I'm saying, I would have stood up. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have my sock right now. You know what I mean? So next time, but what I want to know is,
he got the business on the top and the party on the bottom.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. So is this true though about the gray sweatpants and the gray sweat shorts? Is that a real thing?
I think because gray, I don't know if you can see the shadow, like dark colors just kind of hidden.
Right.
It's the same thing though. So don't call it, yes, it is true. It's the same thing though, how men feel about sundress season or maxi dress season or sundress season. Or honestly, when a girl, it's the same thing. Like I had on some gray joggers one time and I saw a guy, and he said something. He was like, hey, I know how women be about them gray sweatpants. He was like, but you and them gray joggers, because you have to think a lot of times women wear leggings. Yes. And even though they're tight, but for someone like me, I should stand up, but I'm not going to do it. Like, so these I have on are a little bit more compression, right? And I have a shape, but if I put on a maxi dress or sundress, something looser, or some joggers or whatever you want to call it, the same way that meat going like whatever, them cheeks is going like do 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 do.
Right.
And I guess that's what people are looking at. It's nothing holding it in. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not restricted or whatever. With guys with the gray joggers, if you have on black joggers, we're more like, wait, what's that? If you got on some lighter, it's like we can see like, what's up?
Right. Okay, so that is true. I just think because like sometimes I feel like women have a herd mentality when it comes to stuff like that. So if one girl says she likes gray sweats and sweatpants, then they're all like, okay, gray sweatpants, da 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 da. So I'm just like, I just need to step out from now
Mm-hmm.
on with my shorts and the sock in tow.
Right.
And that way, I'll be more presentable. So, what was I going to ask you? So we got
We
off.
got thrown off with them gray sweatpants.
Yeah, we got off on the gray sweatpants in terms of that from the friend stuff. You know what I'm saying? In terms of that, I saw somebody came on. I see we got a caller here, and before we get on the next topic, we got a caller. Somebody came in and then they dipped out. So I don't know. Let me remove this one here. So I'm gonna bring on a caller here, but before we do, guys, you guys know the drill. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We need to get 100 likes here minimum. So if you're just now joining, hit that like button. Let's get it up to 100 likes. Quit playing around. This is no joke. We're laying down some good information here. Also, make sure you subscribe to Avery's channel. It is pinned in. Well, it's in the description of the
She
video.
clapped
And
with 2022. No, I'm just kidding.
he Clapper 2022.
No, it's
Holy
Avery
crap!
Woodley.
Goodness. Hey, yeah. Subscribe to Avery's channel. We trying to get Avery up to 9,000. But definitely the goal is 10K minimum. So
Yes.
go ahead and quit playing around. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Hit the like button. We got to get this up to 100 likes minimum. Guys, we gonna only play around with y'all for a few more minutes because y'all acting stingy. So let's go ahead and bring on one of our vets here. Or not vets, one of our frequent callers.
Oh, let
Go
me
ahead
guess.
and
Is it Josiah?
Nah, it's DC.
Oh.
Yeah, from North Carolina.
Oh no, I'm in Jaheim. Okay, DC.
Talk to me, DC. How are you this evening?
I'm doing great, man. Hope y'all are too. Yeah. So this conversation about can men and women be friends, like platonic friends, I don't understand how people are confused on this. In all honesty, all right. If a man finds first of all, I want to say this: just because you recognize that someone is attractive and you think someone's attractive, that doesn't mean you're sexually attracted to them. Like if a man isn't into Indonesian women, there could be a lot of beautiful Indonesian women. He may not be sexually attracted to them because everybody has their own type. So you can recognize attractive people without necessarily being physically turned on by that. But I think that male and female, and we always talk about the male end of it. I think it goes both ways. I do not think a female or a male can be just friends with somebody and not have no type of feelings with someone who they are sexually attracted to. The only time a man can be perfectly fine, and JR had given some examples of the lady that he met with the weekend for a couple of days. That is more of like an associate. That's not necessarily a friend. A friend is somebody who you're talking to on a daily basis. You're hanging out with them weekly or monthly or something like that. You actually have like a deep level bond that you're talking to frequently. I think that all men and all women understand this. I think some people just have different ideas of it, and some people are just good at consciously tricking themselves, but not subconsciously, because a lot of people, like a woman will say that they're just friends with the guy, but when that guy goes and dates a hotter girl, she's feeling some type of way. You know what I'm saying? You had feelings the whole
Yes.
time. Men and women are not designed to be friends. I don't think there has been a single man or a single woman that is heterosexual and healthy who has ever had a genuine male friend or a genuine female friend that they are sexually attracted to, that they are just friends with and nothing else at all. I just don't think it's ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think maybe the only time I think the male and female can be friends is when one person doesn't think the other person's attractive.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's just my take on it.
Okay, DC. You landed that plane today, baby, and you had some good points.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. You had some really good. You brought up some really good points, and you're right. It's not in the design, and no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I wanted to say this too, like in the Christian community, because I've been around Christian dating circles. I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. Like y'all talk about how the manosphere, the dating in this world is weird. Christian dating is very weird. It's very weird because you have a bunch of males and females who are close to each other and hanging out in these friend groups. So like there's hierarchies to it. There's like once you get to people who are like super Christian, like really devout about it, you'll have these male and female friend groups where they're walking around as friends, and you can literally look at the way they walk into a room and you can tell they've got something going on. Anybody can.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. You know what? I've seen that when I was like more into like the whole church type of organization. I'm a believer and I'm spiritual. I respect whatever, but you're absolutely right. And you could almost, let's just be honest, you can feel, people can call it lust, soul ties, all that kind of stuff. You can feel the sexual tension and the energy like between them. You can see it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's true. And it's just weird how like one of my old friend groups a month ago, I used to hang out with them every once in a while. You would have these males and females that were both attractive, that were like, well, it was about a group about 8-10 people. Both the men and women were attractive. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was really out of shape. Everybody looked good. And they're talking about finding husbands and wives. And I'm like, yo, y'all are all Christians, got to say, why ain't y'all talking, or you know what I'm saying, going on dates or nothing? It's just weird. But that's why I wanted to throw in about the Christian thing, because we talk about males and females. Because I seen this one girl, she went around on YouTube and asked Christians on a Christian campus, do you think men and women can be best friends? And like the answer was 50-50 from both the men and the women, you know? So it's just weird.
Well, I guess they feel like if their trust is in, you know, the higher power, in the Lord, not in their flesh, and if they have, you know, the group dates, and if they don't put, a lot of them believe they don't put themselves in certain tempting situations, right? So we're not going to be, you know, laid up on the couch or in the bed. We're not doing Netflix and chill or whatever. If we're going to do a movie night, it may be all of us. So I think I know some, and they actually do recognize the fact that yes, these feelings are here, this attraction. I can be a believer, but I'm not dead, right? I got it. My heart is beating. I'm alive. I feel this, but for them, the trick is to not cut themselves off from having relationships and friendships with these people, but not to put themselves in tempting situations. And that's where the whole like with certain religions, you know, the whole like chaperone and all that came from. It's like, hey, we understand that you may have a connection, but like, let's not play into that, not right now. And and that's why a lot of them are like always together, because it's like, oh, this is my chance to get around the guy that I like and the girl that I like, because if we end up, no matter who we believe in or what we just did or what mission trip we just did, if we are alone together, we are going all the way there.
No, that's true. Like, I'm gonna tell you, and this real talk, I'm gonna tell you some personal experiences I've had. This is bizarre. All right. So back when I was in college, just a couple of years ago, I would go around and like me approaching a female, just take 10 seconds. I saw a cute girl, I would go up, you know, think you're really cute, want to get to know you better. You want to go get some coffee sometimes, you know, get her number, whatever. I would do that, and it was cool, no complaints. When I got around in those Christian groups, there were women who would complain to me at the higher up level people, and I wasn't even flirting with them. I didn't even ask them out. I didn't even think these girls were attractive. I didn't even find them attractive. And I was like, what in the world? And then I sat down with two of my guy friends. They happened to work at a church. And I said, yo, this crap happens to me. I wasn't even doing nothing. And he said, hey, man, listen, look, we've both had that same thing happen to us. And I'm telling you, it's just weird. It's not normal. So, yeah. They're just finicky. And I'm still trying to figure out why they are so finicky for nothing. You know,
because they are probably feeling all like they probably got some sexual tension. Here's the thing. I am a believer, like I said. I don't agree with, a lot of the ways churches do stuff and just organized religion. But when they're saying, oh, you should fast, oh, you should do this, oh, as long as you have God and you're this, and this, you shouldn't feel anything. If you feel anything, you're you're a Jezebel, you're loose or whatever. The reason some of those women are finicky is because they do have blood running through their veins, and they do want to feel a body. They do want to feel a man. They do want to have sex. They do want to feel. You know what I'm saying? They want to release. They want to know what it feels like. So it's almost like some of them almost turn into a thing where it's like anti-man in a sense, because they feel like that's what they have to do to protect themselves, right? And it's like, oh, who sent you? You know what I'm saying? Is this some lust demon, like, or whatever type of thing? So, you know, don't even worry about it. But I get it.
And that's the thing, like people, so males, like for us, we got the testosterone, y'all got the estrogen. For us, our drive is to go out and get sex. Y'all is to go out and attract the opposite sex. So for both of us, like the same drive that we have to get sex, that's the drive y'all have to be attractive. And this is gonna sound weird, but this is what I say, you know. They talk about this in the church too, like how men are always like predominantly it's watching porn. Women are predominantly buying makeup and wearing the shoes and the weaves and the hair and whatnot. Nothing wrong with your weave. You look good. You know what I'm saying? It's the equivalent of the opposite sex. Women are just as horny as we are. They just express it in a different manner, and it gets opened up and released in a different manner. But that's all I got to say. Anything y'all had to add?
No, I think you covered it. Thank you, DC.
Yeah, shout out DC. Appreciate you calling in, bro. Have a good night.
Take care.
Yes.
All right. Shout out to DC from North Carolina. A young man. Shout out to him, man. Always good stuff. Always a pleasure. You know, definitely never thought of it like that. But yeah, women do express themselves in different ways. I never heard the makeup thing, but you know, but I know close bodies. There's nothing like a close, warm body, though.
Baby, nothing like it.
I wanted to highlight, you know, we got a couple people in queue here, Avery, and I know we're coming up on an hour. We're gonna try to keep this short. We're not gonna make it this a long night. But shout out to everybody. I want to give a special shout out to Tony on crypto, bank teller here. Love this JR, man. I don't think we've ever gotten a super chat this high.
No, it's our first one.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Appreciate you, bro. Crypto, shout out to you, man. I just wanted to highlight you on that. Also, guys, here we got a couple callers in queue here before. We're gonna take these two really quick, then we're gonna get into this other topic real quick here. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to Avery's channel, like I already said before. We got 76 likes. You guys are in here. Make sure you guys run it up to 100. We need to get this to a minimum of 100. So go ahead and hit the like button. Stop being stingy.
Thank you.
I'm saying we got some interesting folks in here this evening. Got some regulars. So we'll go ahead and go to the next caller, you know, to not keep you guys waiting too long. But Mr. Jakeem, talk to us. How you doing, sir?
Peace. How y'all?
How are you?
I finally made an appearance for y'all. How y'all doing?
We're good. How are you?
Chilling.
Awesome.
I think even brothers can still be friends with women they're attracted to. So, for example, you do have brothers who do keep platonic friendships with women that are attractive, because that also draws in other attractive women.
True.
Because remember, a lot of women, they may, like if you were to come at a certain woman by yourself, you might get shot down 50-50 maybe. But more oftentimes than not, when you're around attractive platonic friends that are women, those women need them to validate you a lot of times.
Yes. And it makes them feel safe also.
Exactly. So then they're wondering like, yo, am I missing out? Stuff like that. But no, yeah, you definitely can. I got attractive platonic friends. But then also as a brother, you also start to see another side of these women that make you think like, you know what, I'm okay being in the friend zone, because what you got going on, or how you talk to him, or how you do with this and that, you learn this type of stuff. Yeah. You know, you learn these type of things behind the scenes, or you learn I know you got a platonic friend that has trapped a man before.
Right.
You know, I mean, you will come to find these little nuances out and actually be glad that, you know,
oh yeah, absolutely.
You were friend zoned or someone friend zoned you. It's actually
you know
not
what?
even all that bad.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's true. What you said about the benefit of a guy having an attractive platonic friend, especially when they're going out, and how it garners the attention of other women, but also it makes other women feel safe. Because if you see a guy there with a group of, you know, it could be guys and girls with like a home grade, if she is attractive, you're like, oh, okay, you know, this is safe. I feel okay. Here's another woman, which is also why when you have people who abuse that, you have men who get women to work for them to bring other chicks in for people who do it on that side. So that is a very real thing. And then you're right. When you become friends with someone of the opposite sex in these situations, right? But it also speaks volumes of you because you have to be respectful of the fact, like, okay, this is really just a friend. But you see sides to your friends that the outside world does not see, right? And you could be sitting up there looking at them like, yeah, she look good, but whoo, baby, I would never want to be in a relationship with her, and vice versa. Like, I know some guys that are so cool and dope, but I would never. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, women are crazy about them. I'm like, oh, baby, I would never, ever. But they're great friends or whatever. So, no, thank you very much. You definitely brought up some points that are very valid and true.
I got something to say about that.
Go ahead, brother Wisdom. Go ahead.
So, let's say you got a dime. You know, you have a gorgeous woman. You know, as your wing woman, or for lack of a better term, or just someone that you hang out with. Which obviously, like Avery was saying as well, you know, I think it goes along with seeing a man with a beautiful woman and a woman wanting to know how did he pull this off, or he may be safe, or he may be secure because she's gorgeous, and I like to be in company because all women, I think, for the most part, like to be in company of other beautiful women, as you kind of were getting at. But I feel, which I have a story that happened this past weekend, that there is some jealousy and some competition, even if she may not be attracted to this man in particular. But if she sees him out and about, let's just say you're best friends, and I'm just using you as an illustration, Avery.
That's totally fine.
Me and you were to go out, and me and you are good friends, platonic. We just go hang out on the weekends or whatever. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I'm not saying you in particular. I'm just saying this is the case. Me and you going out this weekend, or go out this weekend, and they see me with Avery. I walk up in the spot. You know, we're hanging out, we're talking, we may be dancing, so on and so forth. And it disarms whatever potential woman that I have my sights, my sniper gang set on, as y'all say down there in Miami. You know, I got my sniper sight set, and let's say Avery may break the ice, or she may make her feel comfortable. This is what guys do with you know, that invite other women to the bedroom. They'll sometimes send a woman to do it for them, which they'll use that woman to disarm them for the situation, to bring them back home so they can do their thing. But the fact that it raises the curiosity. I think it Bill Bellamy, if you guys have ever seen How to Be a Player, there was one scene where
he did use that technique.
Yeah, he used that technique where he was dancing with the woman that was deemed not that attractive, and all the women were like looking like, what the hell is going on here? But I feel like there's a level of competition, or the feelings may come across eventually, like, unless there's just some complete detachment going on, but there's a level of potential jealousy or competition going on, that he's with this girl or someone, a woman that may not even be interested in you initially. Eventually it could happen, because I just think that's a natural inclination in terms of jealousy. For example, and she may be watching right now, we were at a spot this weekend, right? And she said that she didn't want to be with this dude for whatever reason. She was good. She was just cool being friends, right? The guy was in the spot also. He starts talking with another woman. In real time, this happened. She said, Oh hell no! I'm about to go disrupt this real quick or whatever because
Right after she said she didn't want him.
yeah, she didn't want to be on that type of time with him because
Mm-hmm.
she told me the reason why. But yeah, he starts talking to another girl in there, and she was just like, I'm just cool being friends with him. She's like, yeah, nah, I'm not about to let that slide. Let me go ahead and walk up on this. I said, hey, listen. I said the worst thing you can really do, well, one of the worst things you can do with a man is just lead him on, right?
Yes.
And that's the same thing, vice versa. Women always complain about that. But don't play around with me if you're gonna tell me you don't want to mess with me. Now that you see other women showing
Right.
interest in me,
Yes.
you say we just
Exact
want to be
facts.
friends. Yeah,
I
we want to
agree.
be. And this, like I said, this happened on Sunday. This
Like you
happened.
literally said you didn't want
Yeah,
him.
yeah. She said she
But
Right.
didn't
she
want
doesn't
him.
want him on her time. She
Right,
didn't want him to
Right.
dismiss her. She wanted to dismiss him.
right.
Right. There you
And
go. Power
and
struggle.
It's an
yeah,
ego. It's an ego. Women can't have an ego. It's
Absolutely.
an ego.
yeah. So, and that's what I
Absolutely.
told her. I said, listen, I said, don't play around with this dude. You know what I'm saying? Because
Period.
I've had women play around with me. If you like him, you like him. If not, let him go. She's like, you're going to use this for content, aren't you? That's exactly what she said to me.
Yes,
She
we
was
are,
like,
hon.
she was
Thank
like,
you.
she
I
was
mean that
like,
most respectful way, but it happens, right? You don't want, I remember my childhood best friend's godmother, which kind of became like a godmother to me. She said at one time, and she's a seamstress, right? Like kind of old school seamstress. She was like, look, she said, I can have a sewing machine. She was like, and if it breaks down and I put it out, I don't want it anymore, right? It served its purpose. I don't want it anymore. I want to move on. I put it outside and somebody else comes and picks it up and fixes it or wants it, right? They see the value
yeah,
in it. I can't go ask for it back. I didn't
right,
want it. So if you don't want it, you don't want it. Put it out there. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want him, you don't want him. You can't get rid of him on your time. If you don't want him, then that's it. No love lost. Like you have to give the other person a chance and opportunity to move on. But don't all of a sudden want him or her because you see other people flocking to them.
correct.
Excuse me.
But that's attraction with the herd mentality though, which is dope. I don't care how much my homie thinks she's attractive. That's not gonna make me think she's attractive. I'm
Right.
sorry, but women are wired different from men, and I get it. You're not gonna tell me that she's attractive, and I'm gonna think she's attractive. I'm sorry.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It does, but that happened in real time on Sunday. Like, and I told her, I was like, yo, that's foul if you're doing that just because in a moment you feel some type of way. And she definitely said, like, are you gonna use this as content in one of your videos? And I was like, hell yeah. I am. I told her straight up. I said, yeah, I definitely am. And she was just like, and shout out to you if you watch it right now. You know what I'm saying? But that's definitely what happened, man. So,
Right.
I think it's one of those things where the cattiness can sometimes come in unless people can say, let's just say somehow you have a relationship, even with a friend, and you're telling all of these things that you're doing. Hey, I'm ravaging her. I'm doing this way. I took her out on this date, or I gave her flowers, or I bought her this ring, and well, I've heard women say, I don't want to hear that shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We supposed to be cool, even if you do have an arrangement where you're just fucking, right? She don't want to hear that shit.
They don't want to hear it because it's not them. Don't tell me what you're doing for some other woman.
Exactly. Just like I said, dudes, you can't let, whether you're in a relationship, friend or not, I can't sit there and let you tell me, which I had a woman, to me, it's disrespectful. I can't sit there and let you tell me how this dude was demolishing you and all this stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? If I have some type of, I think that talk is reserved for your girlfriends. When it comes on the flip side, I think for women, that type of talk is reserved for your girlfriends. Anything else as far as your man goes is something, whether it be something personal you're dealing with outside of that. But if it's your man, you shouldn't be talking about dudes anyway. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thoughts. You know what I mean? But
you're right.
All right.
All right.
Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Hey man, appreciate you calling in, man. Shout out to Miami.
For sure.
Yes, thank you. Peace. It was good to see your face, Mr. Jakeem.
I try. All right, good seeing y'all. One love what you do.
Thank you.
Hey. Peace. Shout out to Jakeem. You know what I'm saying? We got one more caller here. And you know, I know the homie Big Calvin, the foot connoisseur. He's gonna be swift with it, just like he's swift with rubbing them feet. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That I'm gonna play this. Yeah, I'm gonna play this clip here. You know what I'm saying? But before we do, guys, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Averi's channel. We at 88. We need 12 more likes to get to 100. Quit playing around. We're at an hour. You know what I'm saying? We're about to get up off here because y'all playing around anyway. So let's go ahead and do that. Calvin, talk to me. Big boss Calvin, foot connoisseur. What's happening?
Ain't nothing much. I mean, but I did have some feet last Sunday.
Okay, I'm glad you got some feet. You got some foots in your life. Was they crusty, dusty, or was they official?
They were smooth, big, fat, fluffy, but they were shaped. She's a size 8.5.
Did you put the tongue 8.5? Did you put the tongue in between the toes?
Yeah, I sucked the whole foot.
Oh.
Okay, say less.
Okay. You asked the question.
Definitely say less. Look at me.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. What's on your mind, Calvin? What's up, man?
I mean, I'm just listening to the whole Platonic thing. Me personally, I don't do the whole Platonic thing. I'm not saying men and women can't be friends. I think it depends if you're like-minded, but also it has to be a lot of commonalities. I study psychology, so a lot of commonalities and stuff. But I mean, but to be attracted, I mean, no, it has to be. You just don't have that compatibility of, you know, the sexual attraction and that. I mean, in my personal opinion, I'm just speaking of. But listening in, I don't do the whole thing because no offense, not trying to generalize. No, don't take this the wrong way, Averi. I'm not trying to. But most of my experience, as me being 39 years old, most women are terrible friends. I mean, I've seen them how they do each other. And I'm like, the way they treat men, the friend zone, I don't do no friend zone. I can't do it. Go ahead.
No, hey, let me tell you something. This one woman right here, my circle's about this big.
Yeah.
I got a few, and I know some, like, now I'm not talking about people that I know over social media that I've met, right? But as far as like my close girlfriends who I could tell anything to, it's very few. I don't do the big birthday dinners and the birthday parties. I don't know that many chicks that I actually want to sit down with, because most of the women that I know, like a lot of chicks, their character is flawed, right? And there's a lot of women who we already know who don't work on themselves because they're women and they may be successful and I'm perfect. And it's like, girl, you are like completely effed up. You know what I'm saying? You're messy. You are toxic. You are a narcissist. You are all these things. So I know a lot of women who are not good friends. And I know women who are like, oh, that's my friend, this person, my friend, that person. I'm like, girl, she's not your friend. So I get it. And I get not wanting to be in the friend zone. You're absolutely right. So I'm in agreement with you on there. I get it.
Yeah. And I also I mean, even when it comes to the whole friendship, I would say, because I be watching it, and even when I look at my experiences, even when I observe people making content on that, I would say there's a culture of lazy daters. There's a lot of laziness, and then there's the, I don't find this person attractive. And sometimes you can't just go off. I mean, you can, but you can't at the same time. But sometimes if you know this person is of quality and you're saying publicly, openly, that this is the type of person they check these boxes of what you want, then all of a sudden be careful what you ask for, because you might get it. And nobody wants to be honest with themselves about that in regards to that. And my thing is, so you can't just put somebody on the side. Well, I'll be for the streets, and then I'll come back to you years later. I don't mean playing that. We don't do that here. I don't do that. I'm like this, and I'm not being the emotional maxi. Like I mean, I'm like this. If you're going to talk to me about your problems, lady, you got two things. It costs money, or you can make me something to eat, or you can put your footsies on my lap. I rub you, and we could just have a conversation. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Calvin.
Yeah.
So would you consider a woman who you doing this foot play with, is she a friend or is she more than a friend?
I I would say I don't want to throw that term. I would say yes, she's one of my main, hookup feet hookups. But
Okay.
I mean,
So it can't she can't be no regular chick you rubbing her feet then, is what I'm saying.
she could be a regular chick if she cool with me, doing my thing.
But I mean, in terms of you doing all these erotic things with her feet, she
The
has to
foot play.
be, yeah. Does she have to be more than a friend, or can she just be a friend?
She could be a friend.
Okay, she could be a friend. Okay, got
Yeah.
you. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. Hey, for all you ladies, he'll look at your feet, but he's not about to do all these gymnastics with the feet. You know what I'm saying?
I can't do no gymnastics. And plus, I'm not trying to brag, but my mouth, and my way I do it, and my hands are just ice cold like these blue lights, ice blue lights.
Hey, send her into the stratosphere. I feel you.
Oh, can I ask you?
You never my face.
I'm going to ask Averi a question. What's your shoe size?
What's my shoe size? I actually wear a size 9. I'm 5'8". I'm 5'8". So I'm 5'8", and I recently weighed. Well, I'm giving you guys my measurements. I recently weighed. You can look at me on Instagram. I weigh 157 pounds.
That's asking.
Yeah. I wear like a size 4 though. Like I'm 157 pounds, but I work out and I gained 14 pounds over the last couple of months on purpose. So my size actually went up. When I was thinner, like from working out too much, it went down. And I can wear 8.5 and like some heels or whatever, depending on how like steep they are. But I like to go up in Nikes. Why am I telling you this? But I wear like
you just made Calvin Dick jump some just now by saying that. Yeah.
Her toes were. I saw one of her pictures barefooted. I said, "Shoot, she got pretty feet." Oh my God. Yeah.
I do foot exercises. It's good. Like a lot of people, you should be flexing your feet. You can feel it in your calves and knees.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Calvin, hey, there you go. There you go, man. Hey, just dream about it tonight, man. It'll be good in the morning.
So I just want to say before I land this play, because I got to check in back. But I will say this though. I think even when many were talking about sometimes if you have a woman around you, it could go either way. But for me personally, I think it's all about how you conduct yourself and how the energy you give off. And I was talking about this with a lady. She out in Raleigh too. But I haven't met her yet, but we have these conversations as well as content creators in the foot space. But I mean, it's all about the charisma, the type of energy you get off, and there's very different types of charisma. As you can see, I can be more cool and chill, that teddy bear, and then there's the brash, and I think it's all about what floats your boat at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Hey, appreciate you, Calvin, man. You've been very entertaining this evening, man. I like your input too.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I always love being on you, and I'll definitely check more of you out, Averi.
Yeah, go ahead and subscribe to her channel if you haven't. I know you have.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Take care.
I appreciate you.
Shout out to the big boss, Big Calvin. You know what I'm saying? He got.
You know what I will say about Big Calvin? He has a smile on him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like he just looks like he has a great smile. Like, he's into his little foot thing or whatever. Yeah. But he is who he is. You know what I'm saying? I can't help but respect that.
Absolutely. Being authentic, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Be yourself, honor yourself. So I'm gonna play because I know we coming up. We are coming up on an hour and a half here. I'm gonna play this clip, Averi, because I know we were getting in, but before I'm gonna preface it with this. We were talking about offline, which was a subtopic of this, about being friends with your ex.
Yes.
Regardless after the fact, whether it was a great breakup, good breakup, or for lack of a better term, I don't even want to say breakup, transition or whatever have you. you being friends or remaining friends with that person, even when you're in other relationships. And I think you kind of mentioned that. We kind of talked about it earlier. I think we may have not in terms of the exes, but I got a clip I want to play here, and I see the other caller in here, but I got a clip real quick. Have we hit 100 yet? 4 more. We need to get it up to 100. Quit playing, guys. Like
Love
the video.
don't cost a thing. Hit the or like doesn't cost a thing. Hit the like button, guys. Show us some love.
Show some love. Appreciate you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Avery's channel if you want to call in. We got a little bit of time for like maybe one more after him, but go ahead and click the link. Also, there's a poll. We're asking a question. Go ahead and click on that as well. Let's go ahead and play this video here in reference to this topic of exes and things like that. So let's go ahead and get into it. So Avery.
She was like, yo, I even brought one of them right here. Stand up.
Right. Facts. It's that was crazy. Shy. Well, what's your thoughts on that? After you guys have separated and went on about your ways and transition and things like that in life, what's your thoughts on remaining friends with an ex?
Okay. And I said this offline.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to ending a relationship, right, as an adult, I'm not necessarily talking about a 12-year-old, as an adult or whatever, if you consider yourself an adult, when it comes to ending a relationship, one thing I have learned to appreciate is the end, right? Every book you read comes to an end. Everything has an end. And I think sometimes we don't appreciate the end enough. We worry about how it ended, why it ended, this, and that, instead of just appreciating the end. Close it. Stop going, you know what I'm saying? Like when I finish a book, I don't necessarily go back and reread it unless I need to learn something, right? When you're in college, you may read something, but okay, let me go back and reread it because I have to take an exam.
Mm-hmm.
But the end, it is what it is. No matter if something crazy happened or whatever, take it for what it is. I also understand like people being in your life for a moment or for a season, right? Or sometimes you're in somebody's life and you guys connect, one, because they are meant to bring something out of you or you're bringing something out of them, or through your interactions, you're learning out something about, figuring something else out about yourself. Whatever it is, appreciate who that person was to you for that moment in your life and the ends. I also don't believe though in closure, right? Like when we're younger, it's like, oh, we're going to break up. Okay. Oh, I need to talk to you. Oh, we need to meet. We need to talk about this, and this. No, you don't.
Right.
It only takes one person to close the door. If me and JR are walking out of my house, we would have looked stupid as hell, both trying to close the door at the same time. It takes one person to close the door. You don't have to keep having it linger on, right? So end it, respect it for what it is. No love lost. Everybody can continue their way on with life or whatever. It is what it is. Now, there are situations where I do understand you have to have some form of healthy relationship, some sort of relationship, right? Depending if both people can come to the table and do this for a few, for a bigger reason. For example, I have a relationship with my ex-husband because we have kids together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we didn't have kids together, it could be what it is. You know what I'm saying? We probably would never have to speak to each other again. But it doesn't mean that we hate each other. It just means for 10 years or 12 years, whatever it was, it served a purpose. We don't have to necessarily check in with each other. It's like, I don't wish you any harm, anything bad or whatever. And just recently he got engaged. And congratulations on that. And I'm like, congrats, right? Same team. That's what I'm all about. And I meant it. One, because thank God, now there'll be another woman. Look at me. Take the load off me with these kids, right? I'm like, yes, as long as she is good to him, because he is the father of my children, I do care about his well-being because I need him to be able to be the man he needs to be so he can be the father he needs to be. But no, like truly wholeheartedly, congratulations, because of the respect that we now have for each other, because we have a much healthier relationship as co-parents, right? So that I do invest into that co-parenting relationship with him, but we now are starting to match each other's energy, right? We are both starting to communicate better, respect each other's time, and just have a better relationship because we see how it benefits our children, right? Mm-hmm. So with that is why, is because we have a mutual investment and we need our relationship and the success of our relationship can change the course, I can't even talk, can change our children's lives for the better based on how we interact with each other. I also have a 13-year-old son. His dad and I are friends. He is one of my closest friends. We met in college at Michigan State. It was my first time. Like, I had never been pregnant before. I'm just giving you guys, I'm being honest, right? I had never been pregnant before. I had actually had a tumor, had a surgery. I had one fallopian tube and one ovary, and I had all 3 of my kids. So it was kind of like, this is my first pregnancy. It was like, oh my gosh, because the doctors were like, oh, the older you get, it'll be harder to come back. So he is one of my best friends, right? We've been in the trenches with each other. We wish each other the best. And the same thing, we're in this together, right? He wants me to be the best mom I can be. He wants me to be successful in mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for our son. And I want the same for him. But we have we have an investment, and this is an investment that's not going anywhere, right? So until they get out from underneath our roof and until they get their footing and grounding in this world and in life, it is our job to work together to have some form of healthy relationship, for sure, or friendship, right? And this doesn't mean to have a healthy co-parenting relationship, you do not have to technically be friends with your ex.
Absolutely.
No, you do not. You need to have a mutual, some sort of respect for them or acknowledgement for them for who they are as the parent. You do not have to like them. You do not have to do holidays together. You don't have to do anything like that, but your job is to respect them and to value them as the opposite parent and not to tear them down in front of the children or anything like that. That's when you're putting your own personal feelings aside for the greater good, right? You're making a sacrifice. Right. So in my situation now, no. If we don't have any investment together, we don't need to be, no, we're not being friends. But it also means not being friends doesn't mean we're enemies. And absolutely. I think people are so set on making it seem like, oh no, we're cool, we're friends, because they don't want to come off like the person that's bitter or angry, or they don't want people to think that they still want them back. First of all, F what other people think. Us not being friends does not mean we're enemies. It just means we're not friends.
Correct.
Period. Point blank. So that's my spiel.
I agree. I totally agree. The only way you should be on that type of time is if you are co-parenting with your ex, or if you guys are working together in some way, shape, or form, which you don't have to be friends, but at least be cordial, especially if you're within close proximity. You know what I'm saying? In terms of that. I believe I mentioned to you kind of like what you were just talking about as well. But offline before we got on here, my ex-wife, we separated October 2014. I may, up until recently, based upon a family issue that I mentioned to you, over the past 8 years, we may have had 4 conversations.
Right.
Like total, you know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't, to be honest with you, I couldn't stand her ass. Mm-hmm. I hated, I would say I hated her ass. Hated and loved her at the same time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For a better term. But there was the conversation. We actually talked yesterday about a situation about our son.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, and we had a cordial conversation, and she was just like, well, me and you don't talk like that, so I wouldn't have known to have said something to you, which that's how it's been. Within a year, sometimes we've gone a year or two without even saying anything to each other. Maybe text, everything is just text message. Right. In terms of drop off, pick up, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But as time goes, that there's really no need, and as well as my other ex, there's really, and the drop off of my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. And she'll say whatever, hey, I need this, or hey, at this time, so on and so forth, and that'll be that.
Right.
Me and her don't have conversations. We don't talk. We don't get on the phone. Mm-hmm. And have these, hey, this is what's going on in my life.
Right.
Hey, what's going on in your life? There's no need for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be enemies, but I think a lot of people are, they have an attachment to a person, and years can go by, decades can go by.
Right.
Still have I believe Khalees, the whole thing that popped up with Khalees recently.
Right.
Her and Beyonce, she was talking about, somebody said something about Nas. And she was like, and she could be lying, she could be capping, as y'all youngins say.
Mm-hmm.
But she said Nas still wants to be with her. And there's other situations with people where guys and women are still trying to get back with their ex, or still want to have them, or just find some way to communicate or open up a
Yeah.
door of communication outside of, especially with kids, because you're attached to that person for at least 18 years
Right.
or whatever, really for the rest of your life. But
Mm-hmm.
those 18 years, you guys have to communicate, and if you're co-parenting, both of you, as opposed to one person not being active, but you
Mm-hmm.
have to communicate, and whether it be text message now or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's overrated, unless somebody, usually it's very rare, I think, with a breakup. And I don't know your thoughts on this. It's usually rare in a breakup where doesn't one person doesn't want to be in a relationship, another person does. I think I'm not saying it's very rare, but I think it does happen where both people are like, okay, we both come to the conclusion where we just can't be together.
Absolutely.
But with those attachments too, one person wants to stay, or one person wants to keep this thing going, the other person doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
with that attachment. But at the end of the day, I'm with you. I don't feel like there's any need. You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
just being the person. Sometimes some people are able to handle things more than others, where they can look at the person all the time. Some people, it's just better for them to be out of sight and not see the person at all.
Absolutely. And that's why I wanted to say is that I don't want people to think that in order to have a successful co-parenting relationship, that you have to be friends with that person, that you have to talk to them on the phone.
Correct.
You can text each other. You can do it over that court app if you need to. Some people are just better off. It's like, this is a transaction. Transaction. What about insurance? What about, did you buy school supplies? Did you buy clothes? Uploading receipts. Oh, I signed Junior up for this. What do you think? Or whatever. You may take them to practice. What does your schedule look like? So I definitely get all that. And then with my ex-husband and I, we had to, because he does not have the typical 9 to 5. So our communication was a little bit different, and they understood that we didn't have a set schedule. Sometimes when you have a set schedule, it's easier. It's like, oh, okay, we're going to do drop off here this day. You stick to this, you have the split holidays or whatever. Ours is more like, you may have to message and say, hey, I'm going to get them. Oh, wait a minute. My flight got canceled. So there's more communication. My flight got canceled, or I got called to go do this, or I have to train, or I have to do this. And then I'm sending him stuff like today. I'm like, hey, Dylan has soccer practice. I know it's, my bonus son's birthday or whatever. Hey, Dylan has soccer practice. So you're going to be able to get him there. And he's like, no, can you let them know, upload on the app that he'll miss today because, for whatever reason. Text back, okay, got it. That kind of thing.
What's this app?
What'd you say?
What's this app you talking about? You said, is this
there's an app. I don't know. And I'm sure it's called Our Family Wizard. And you have to pay for it. But on this app, you can give other people access to it so they can see. So sometimes the courts use it because the judge or attorneys or guardian ad litems can like log on and see the messaging between the two parents. But on there, it has like a calendar. I think it has like for schedules, it has like a directory or whatever, to where you could probably add the school information, doctor's information. You also have the ability to upload forms and receipts and everything like that. And it is an app, and it may be everywhere. Our Family Wizard. And like, no, so we're not using that. We just, we just text, but it took us a second, to get there. But at the end of the day, he loves these kids. I love these kids. What do we got to do to make sure they're successful? In just our situation, we are, we both had to get whole and to work on ourselves and to grow and do whatever apart from each other, right? There are definitely some environments where you have to do that apart. I do not believe in, and this is a whole nother thing, but I don't believe in two people being in a household. Two people in a household does not mean it's a healthy home life at all.
Correct.
Right? I didn't have two broken people in the same house raising broken children. Yes, my kids are in separate homes. We live literally only like 2 miles away on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 miles away, they're in the same district, but now they have 2 full homes, 2 whole parents, and it's a more loving and healthy environment all around. But so no, I communicate with the fathers of my children, and we have good relationships for cope, but it's rare. You know what I'm saying? It's rare. But it's taken a lot of personal work. It had nothing to do with us collectively working on a relationship together, it's like, okay, when we go to our respective corners, you know, you're in the red corner, I'm in the blue corner. I'm in the blue corner, not pointing my fingers at you. I'm in the blue corner working on myself. So when I come back to meet you in the middle, you can match my energy, and we're here to handle business for our children. And that's what it is. It's all respect.
Got you. Most definitely. That's dope. I'm gonna have to check. I'm gonna look up that app. Not that I'm using it, but yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said something about how y'all feel about birthdays after a breakup. I there was a thing, there was a post, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna bring on JBJ, and then we're gonna end this.
Okay.
There was a post, you know, and I'll get your thoughts on this real quick. There was a post that a woman put up about her ex, and that she shared a child with, and that he would come over on her birthday, still buy her a cake and buy her flowers, and you know, basically, you know, share her, you know, basically congratulate her, or basically celebrate her birthday with her by bringing her a cake, flowers, even though they were no longer together. And all the women were like, well, no, I think it was a fella, it was a dude telling this story, excuse me. It was a dude putting up the post. I still buy my my ex flowers and a cake on her birthday or whatever, and I bring it by, and everything's fine, you guys, blah blah blah, all this stuff. And all the women were like, now that's a real man. That's this, that, and the third. That's da 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 da. But if the shoe was on the other foot, it would be an issue. If your husband, your boyfriend, was going over to his ex's place to celebrate her birthday or give her a cake and flowers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I just think some people are disingenuous when it comes to things like that. About
and I also think I think with that, because like we do stuff similar, not like that, but it's like, okay, it's you know, it's your mom's birthday. Here goes a gift, but it's from the kids, right? I mean, they're little, they're not driving and whatever. It's from the kids. Oh, it's your dad's birthday. Oh, it's Father's Day. Here's a gift, but it's from, you know, but for Father's Day, it's from all of us. We love you. We appreciate you, whatever. I also think it just comes down to a respect thing, right? Like, obviously, if you and I are together, right? And you and I are together in a relationship, and it's my ex's whatever, right? He's celebrating something. I'm not necessarily going to go over there and be like, oh my, you know, and I praise my exes. I celebrate them in life or whatever. But there's a way to do it to where it's like, it's crossing the, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crossing the line. So for example, now, especially when there's somebody else in the household, like I said, my ex is, you know, he's engaged.
Exactly.
There's certain things now that even though we don't have, like, he may be traveling from another country, so he may send a text message late. It could be an 8-hour difference, right? But now when it comes to stuff, I used to be like, okay, I'm gonna call him early in the morning to wake him up and tell him something about the kids. But now, out of the respect, it's like, okay, let me watch those hours, right? Let me watch those hours of communication just to be respectful of whatever, and vice versa. But when some people are doing, you know, all of that, I think when it comes down to it, it depends on the two people in the relationship, or the exes, or for whatever reason whatever reason they're doing it, and it's kind of like on them. But you do have to be very, very careful. There is a fine line, because one of the people still may be in love, and then you have some situations where people are like, oh hell no, you know, we came together, we served a purpose, we had beautiful children, you know. That's how I feel. We learned something from each other. I'm a better woman now. You know what I'm saying? I learned about a lot about myself as a wife and as a woman. Without all that situation, without the marriage, I never would have known. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, I never would have grown and evolved the way I have and the way I'm continuing to do if that would not have happened. It was a part of God's plan for my life, right? Sure. But when it comes to the ex situation and still being in each other's lives, you have to be very, you know, especially if you have children, you have to be very careful. You can do it. You can have some sort of relationship. It doesn't mean buddy, right? For everybody else, it's going to look different for what you need to do. Like you said, you know, your kids are good, and you've talked to her a handful of times since 2014, right? You may have some people that talk twice a week. You may have some people that just do the drop off and the pickup and put me on the school list, and it's, you know, give me the coach's information or whatever. But no, like, I've come to the conclusion that it is very rare for men and women, heterosexual men and women, to be platonic friends. Now, of course, if there's not an attraction or whatever, yeah. But still, even if one person isn't attracted, the other person may be attracted or may not, but they may fall in love with your spirit, with your conversation, with whatever, with them booty shorts you wearing over there, get them cheeks.
And synchronized facts.
Yes.
Beautifully said, Avery. I agree. So bring on this last caller here. Mr. JVJ, did you fall asleep at the wheel?
Nah, Avery just messed me up with that one right there.
What did I do? That little clap?
Nah, it wasn't even the clap. It was like, y'all might be platonic friends for a little bit, but one person like the other person. Then JR over here rubbing his hands and stuff.
I just gotta keep it funky with it.
Hey, keep it real, man. I don't believe that men and women can be platonic friends. So there's always a reason that a man talks to any woman. And I think most people that actually understand the concept of men and women and interactions will get it. Like, if a man's dealing with a woman, he wants something from her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no in between about it. It's so simple. Guys don't deal with females unless we want something from you. Like, we can hang out with the guys and shoot the shit and have good fun time or whatever and talk about random things. That's where we want to do those things at. But when it comes to women, there's a reason that we're talking to you, if that makes sense. So
yeah, there's an agenda.
It's not an agenda. It's just
I'm kidding, but no, there's a reason. You're a man. It's a man.
Yeah.
I think
it is an agenda. It is an agenda.
See, can I be like the ladies? I don't like that word. I don't like that word.
I know, not all agendas are bad, right? Not all agendas are bad. I don't, that is like a word that sounds like whatever, but yeah.
No, I'm just being petty. I ain't gonna lie. You can use whatever word you want to use for it. It's there's a meaning behind it. Men are perfect. Like, what is it? Purpose lit. Like, what? Hey, what's the word, JR? Men do everything with a purpose. It's right like that.
Purpose driven.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're purpose driven. So if a guy's dealing with a woman, he's hanging around a woman. That Steve Harvey one you showed, Steve had that guy shook.
Mm-hmm.
He had that guy very shook. Like, he was sitting over there looking real giddy. He's like, Steve, why you gonna tell her I'm still hanging around waiting for the chance that, she fall on hard times and I can get her back, man? And one thing I'll say about a lot of ladies, and they have the ability to be naive on this subject, because a lot of women want to live in a world where he is here because he's my friend. Yeah. Like, nah, boo-boo, he really just waiting on you to get on hard times. And boom, right here. He's like, I'm hungry. Should I go to the store? No, I'm right here in the kitchen. You can just open the refrigerator up and I'm right here for you. That's what they're looking for. And we just need to be real about it. Let's be honest. It is what it is. But no, like, only way that I can feel like a man and a woman can be platonic friends is kind of in a situation like what you're talking about, Avery, where you're coming from. And it's still sketchy. It's not 100% across the way. You have children with a person, or you have a child with a person. That's the only way it can kind of get close to 100% men and women can be children. Even with that, I'd be like, nah. Like if I was to deal with a woman that had kids and she was interacting with her baby daddy or the father of her children, whatever term you want to use, I'll feel some type of way.
Mm-hmm.
Me as a man, and I know women feel some type of way when it's a man dealing with his baby mama. So it's really, men and women can't be platonic friends, but we have variables in between, exceptions here and there. But
yes,
that's all I got.
No,
I'll tell you what.
I totally agree. I totally agree, and you're right. Even if you have children with a person, it can still be sketchy. I've talked to someone before, and they felt some type of way, based on the relationships I had with the father of my, the fathers of my children. But it never interfered. There was never anything that happened like if I was on a date with that person and one of the fathers of my children called and I left. So it never interfered like that with our relationship. But one of the things that attracted some of these people was the fact that I did have a positive relationship with the fathers of my children, and I was not bashing them and doing all these things, and I was uplifting them as fathers. So it also attracted them, and it's just a mutual respect, because a lot of women like downplay, like, oh, he's this, he's that, he's, whatever. I'm all for fathers, right? I'm a mother. I'm a woman.
Okay.
Father. My children need their fathers in their life, right? And then it was some other things that came in, and I saw what he was saying, but I'm like, I haven't changed anything, right? Like, I have been the same way with them before you and with you. So it's not like all of a sudden, as we were in a relationship, now I'm like all with, like, oh, praising my exes just because he's around. It's like, you can look at my Instagram. Like, this is how I've always been. You know what I'm saying? This is how I've been with them. And that's exactly what it is. But there's nothing that I can't say or do in front of you that I can't, you know what I'm saying? With them. And I think that's a problem, because I know some people that really do treat their exes differently and are like all in their face, and they couldn't do that around the person they're in a relationship with. And then that's when it's like some sneaky stuff to me like going on, right? So if you can speak to them and have them around and I know about it and you're cordial and platonic, then, whatever. But I still feel like to each his own, because women do feel sometimes, oh, you going over her house? What she need now? Like,
facts.
So
See, I think you dabble into the variable work, the variable.
Yeah, it's variables. You're right, but I agree, hands down. No, men and women platonic relationships is going to be a struggle. Something
like. So how do you deal with? You care if I ask her a couple questions, JR?
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
You one in a possible.
Okay, here you go. I'll just take two then. I'll just take two. How do you navigate that when you're dealing with a new guy coming into your life? Let's say you're because are you single right now or you are in a relationship? I'm not trying to holler. I ain't trying to holler.
Oh my God. I did not think that.
I'm just saying I'm good.
I did not think that. I'm seeing something with somebody.
Oh, you reading the chat?
No, let's just go ahead and ask the question.
Okay, are you currently in a relationship?
No.
Okay, so if you're gonna deal with a potential guy,
but I am talking to someone. I am talking.
Okay. Well, that's even better.
Right,
you're talking to a guy. Mm-hmm. How would you navigate that road of you? Okay, look, I have kids, but you're about to come into this. Now they have fathers, right? So how would you try to circumvent that to be an easy process where he can slide in? He has to understand that he's not the father of these kids. They have dads. So how would you, because you have to be you got to be the person that sets the table and brings everybody together.
Right.
So how would you do that? Do you think that would be an easy process for most women to be able to carry out? Or do you think would be difficult?
I've done it, I've done it before. I think it depends on the woman's maturity. It depends on how honest and how.
Well, I'm talking about just you. Forget all the rest of the women.
So it's how honest, no, excuse me. First, it has to be like some type of respect there, right? I have to respect also the man that I am with, right?
Yeah.
His feelings, and we have to talk about, okay, but before we even get to the table, he would understand, like, yes, I was married, yes, I have kids. These are their fathers. Their fathers are active, they're active. They help take care of them. They're great guys, blah, 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 whatever. He would obviously know that. And then that gives him the option on how he wants to, if he wants to accept that or not, right? Does he want to, I don't bash them. So I'm not, just because if you feel some type of way, I'm not going to, because I've had a situation like that. This guy felt some type of way. And I'm like, oh, so all of a sudden you want me to start hating on the fathers of my children? Because that's not our norm, right? Our norm is to get along and to raise these children together. And you're coming in and now you have decided that you want to carry on with this relationship. And you do understand that I have I have a good relationship with them. And that's not going to change just because you feel some type of way. But what I won't do is ever let them, any situation with them, interfere with my relationship with that man, right? Like, our relationship needs to get its foundation because he's my man they are not my men. They are the fathers of my children. And you have to distinguish between that. That's my man. You know what I'm saying? Like my ex isn't my man. He is the father of my child. He's not my man. I shouldn't be running to him if I need something or whatever, because he's not my man. He doesn't serve that purpose. And I think that's when the lines the water start to get muddied. So you have to be very, very careful and kind of make sure everybody knows not their position, but like, hey, this is really genuinely just the father of my children. And that's it. But it also depends on how I carry myself, right? And if I'm honest about that, and if I'm like, no, that's the father of my children, and you are my man, and I want to get to know you, and we're building on this, and I will respect you, and also know I'm not going to let them disrespect our relationship. So if it's something serious, like, no, you can't be texting me, you know, if I was laying up with this man or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's all respect of the relationship to make him feel secure. And I feel like that's my job, is to make him know that, hey, I am here for you, and there's nothing else going on with them, right? And I'm also not going to, if they call on me, I'm not going to leave you or cancel a vacation or cancel a date because Tyra needs me, you know, or somebody needs me or whatever, right? So I think it's just making sure that relationship is secure. And me as the woman, it's my job to keep the waters clear, right? To not muddy the waters, and to make sure that over here, co-parents. Over here, we trying to do something. You know what I'm saying? Like co-parents. And if it wasn't for the children, it needs to be like this. If it wasn't for the children, we would not have a relationship, right? We have a relationship because we have children. We have a relationship because I want you, type of thing. So that's what it's like. No, I want you to be my man, and that's the father of my children.
Okay. Yeah, JR, you didn't hear that. I don't know what's going on outside. One of the deadliest cities in America. But besides that, how old are you again, Avery?
39.
39. Okay, boom. All right, last question. Yes. Last question I got. Yeah, I ain't worried about that, man. I got pit bulls running around my house. I'm trying to think about this real quick, because I ain't gonna lie, that messed me up too, man. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, pop. Like, oh, Lord. I hope ain't nobody get shot. What is something? What is, in your opinion, because you're 39, what is the number one thing the number one role that you contribute to the next man that decides to partner with you? What's the number one role? What's the most important? Important.
Wait a minute. Sorry.
You got a gnat in the house? Because I'm about to say, I got a gnat in the house called Frank, man. He won't leave my house.
My son came in from football, and it's like, it was like a fly, like flying around.
Just stay. You can't get them. They just keep, every time you're doing something, they fly around. Look at it. Look at her eyes.
So you know what? Actually, I was in a relationship for a while. So I see people in the chat like, oh, she's this, she's that. Like, you don't know. But anyway, like, so I have no problem with, you know, I'm not going to say this. I have no problem attracting men. I am careful, though, about dating, because I do not believe, I don't care your age. I don't care. I don't believe in a woman being around with a lot of men, especially when she has children. Okay?
Yeah. That should be period anyway. So, but yeah.
You'd be surprised,
especially when you got kids, yeah.
I'm very careful about that. Excuse me. And then, you know what, honestly, one thing I have from men that I have talked to or had relationships with, it's crazy because they're at a point in their life, and a lot of them have been successful, that like what they want from me. And I didn't realize how easy men were, and not in a bad way. Right.
No, we're real easy though.
How easy, right? Like simple, easy. My problem before was that I was too masculine. Right. So like that's Avery 1.0. That's Avery pre-divorce. You know, I was that masculine, strong woman, like, oh, you know, whatever. Right. This Avery has learned a lot. I do not lead in my masculinity anymore. I lead in my femininity. So the way I'm not going to say I approach men because they approach me, but in a relationship, it's a lot different. I actually listen sometimes, like majority of the time, I'm still a Capricorn. Right. And I've listened to these men because a lot of these men
are. What the hell does that mean?
Huh?
I said, what does that mean? Yo, you believe in the science, the horoscope,
right? Listen to what they want in a woman. A lot of women don't listen. Okay. And men, you all tell us what you want. You tell us like, hey, I want peace, I want release, whatever it is, right? And there was a guy I was talking to, and he said like, hey, this is what I didn't have in this relationship. This is why I'm drawn to you. It's it's your loyalty and it's the way you support me, right? That's what he really wants. He said, I'm trying to build my business, I'm trying to do this. And that was one of the biggest things I offered him, was his support. He just didn't want any stress. He wanted somebody he could talk to. You know what I'm saying? He wanted a woman that he could go out with. Of course, he wanted the release, but he was like, my last relationship, we were constantly battling.
I'm listening to you. I'm sorry. Keep going.
He was like, he was like, they were constantly in a battle because she led in her masculine. So I have learned as a woman now, since I've like kind of tapped into my feminine, that a lot of the things that I bring men, it doesn't really cost me like anything. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take a lot for a woman to be feminine. It doesn't take a lot for a woman to be nurturing and to be, and to be supportive and to not argue and battle with the man, especially if he's out there fighting the world and stressed out at work. He don't want to do that with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just want the ease of life. And also I learned about withholding sex. Like, let's just be honest. I learned about all of that back and forth or whatever. Most like the men that I'm talking to, and these are men that women want. You know what I'm saying? When I say talking to, doesn't mean necessarily that I'm talking to them. They're like, I want peace. I want to release a couple of times a week, at least 3 to 4 times a week. Right?
Okay.
I don't want any drama.
All right, that's 2. Keep going. What's the third one?
And they were like, and for her to respect me. It's like peace, respect, and release. I mean, and there's don't get me wrong.
No, I ain't gonna lie. We have to go to the 5s then. Like release. That's the word we're using tonight. Release. We're not gonna use the X word, but release.
That's Avery. Avery uses release. So
okay.
She uses
release. Okay. Well, here. Can I say the other word?
Energy. All about energy. Go ahead.
Okay. Here, the man putting his energy out into the world. And the other word. Okay, that word. But yeah, the peace. That's definitely a must. Like, I think that's the number one thing that will keep a man around for the longest.
Respect across the board.
Well, if you're going to give them peace, you're going to give them respect. Because the disrespect will, it'll mess up the.
Well, no, some women, some women are got a lot of drama going on, a lot of mess. You know what I'm saying? So they can quote unquote respect you in a sense, but if they have stuff going on in their personal lives, I know some messy women, and they just like drama.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Like if you like, the respect is something different. But if my peace is the number one thing that's most important, because in my opinion, my peace is the most important thing. Absolutely. If you don't care about my peace, you will disrespect me.
Yes.
But if you respect me, you'll care about my peace.
You're right.
Peace is number one. Like, that's the one thing I ask for most ladies that I deal with. Give me my peace. Like, when I'm doing what I do, and I tell every chick, like, I don't even talk to you Monday through Friday. Well, Monday through Thursday. Friday, you can catch me. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can catch me. But like, I'm not dealing with you during the week, because that's the grind. That's the grind week where I got to do my day to day, and then on the weekends, I still do other stuff, but I can make time for you. And it's all about respecting that. But look, JR, I ain't gonna hold you. Avery, what is your IG? You said you're on IG, right?
Yeah, it's Averi. So my name right there, Averi with an I _, _ Woodley. So it's nothing fancy.
So it's pretty much everything right there, but underscore in between.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Now, you spell Avery. Why your mama spell it like that, man?
I don't know why.
Was she blindfolded when she spelled
it? You know what? My dad and my mom chose that. They actually thought I was going to be a boy. And then, Avery's usually spelled with a Y. So and a lot of last names, Avery spelled with a Y. So they changed it to an I.
Well, I ain't going to hold you, man. My parents named me after a river. So it is what it is. So can't hold you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But look, JR, man, I appreciate you letting me come on tonight, man. I appreciate letting me talk to you.
Hey,
but man, y'all keep rocking it out, man. Nice to meet you, Avery.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, keep rocking it out, man.
Hey, be safe out there.
Yeah, try to. Try to tonight.
All right, later. Yeah, they emptied the clip over there out there. You know what I'm saying? Check on them dogs. Sheesh. Hey,
I like when people I do like when that's what social media is for. Social media gives everybody a voice and a platform. and people take what they want. This fly is driving me nuts. I am so sorry.
Yeah. I can only, if it's in your ear and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Wait, and my son's over here trying to do sign language. He just came from football. I'm like, what? Okay. Hold on, let me see my phone. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. Yeah, we got some folks captivated tonight. You know what I'm saying? Hey.
Oh, somebody said, I don't know who said it, but I saw it and was cracking up. They were like, Avery, like she cussed and fight her man.
Oh, yeah.
Cussed her man out and fights him. And somebody else was like, looks like she's mean. I did used to be like a little rough and not necessarily cussing people out and fighting them, but I was like a hothead when I was younger.
Just scrapping. Yeah, you got some guys that I see in the chat trying to use some trigger comments, but it's
not gonna work. It's fine.
No, yeah, it's not gonna work. Yeah,
it's not gonna work. I like even when they said something about like what did they say, like her stock is going down? Like I literally had this conversation with Kevin Samuels, and we went like literally rest in peace. Yeah. And when people were like, why did she support him? And he's talking about you, and he was like, no, actually, I'm not talking about you. And he went through the reasons, you know, why. But also, I do understand my age and the fact that I have children and that I'm divorced. It's not like I just had baby daddies all around, right? Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons why women, like, you have to work on yourself. Like, you got to take care of yourself, everything like that. You can't be out here looking sloppy, because I do get that. I mean, it's just the world that we live in. But,
yeah, and I think we, you know, and I did an interview with, and I'm gonna say this based off what you're saying right now, with this past Saturday about this space, you guys, and I can even just read it in the comments. You always looking at one thing to tear someone down. You know what I'm saying? When you guys a lot of times are hiding behind a keyboard, and I'm not defending anyone. It's just the fact that you'll use one thing. You can't talk about how she looks, right? Obviously. You can't say anything about how she looks. You're gonna just say she was married, all right? And then the other thing, well, she's almost 40. Guys, hopefully you live to be 40 one day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just weird stuff. Like I have to find something negative to say about her.
What's crazy? I take pride in my age. My uncle, heart disease runs in my family. My uncle died from a heart attack at 34. My grandmother died at 42. So I love the fact that I'm almost 40. I love the fact that I was married and that I'm divorced and not bitter. You know what I'm saying? And we had a crazy, if people really knew, it was wild. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had a crazy relationship. It could be a movie, a crazy marriage, but we both honestly came out on top, and I came out 100% a better woman. Like, I didn't choose that to be my plan and my refinement, but that's just a part of my story. I have zero regrets.
Right. She got her leg up. She's not supposed to have her leg up. I mean, it's just, that's what I'm saying. It's just,
oh my God. You know what? And I got mosquito bites on my ankle, and I'm scratching my ankle, and you know what? And I'm about to show my ass and y'all put it.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Look, y'all got something to say about this? I'm about to show
hey, this will be a meme right here. Hey, this will be a meme.
Look, y'all this will be a meme right. So like, and I'm about to show my ass, and I had 3 kids. I had 3 kids, and I had 3 C-sections. No.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yep, and I got my leg up. I'm a trainer. I'm stiff. I'm sore after sitting in this chair for so long.
It's just, it's shout out to Avery Woodley, man. It's just, like I said, I just think that this space is, we have to stop it instead of appreciating, you know, you see what, trying to find somebody that's perfect, you'll see where that gets you. You know what I'm saying? Some people have never been with anyone. They just look from afar, admire from afar, including women looking at other women. But it's usually, it's sad to see a lot of dudes saying these things about women. You know what I mean? But like I said, you do have a fan club either way it goes, Avery. Because like I said,
either way it goes means I'm doing something right.
Yeah, you got a fan club, and just the comments say it in itself. But this has been dope for sure. Went on a little bit longer than I wanted to. We had some awesome callers. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, some of the callers have been captivated tonight by you, Miss Avery. So I'm saying, you know, went off on some different things, but we got it done. Obviously, the consensus is, in which I'll post the results here to see what people are talking about in terms of the results. Let's wrap it up here. So, in poll, should be popping up in the chat here any second now. Is it there yet? Okay, so that was 167 votes. Can men and women be platonic friends? 64% say no, 35% say yes. So at the end of the day, I feel like there's certain exceptions, just my opinion. But I think when it comes to certain things, whether you are considered a creep, or some people will consider you a creep, or if you're just able to have enough discipline to understand that there are boundaries with certain things. But I just believe it's just depends on the situation in terms of that and what do we consider a friend,
Yes.
So that's just my thoughts on it, Avery. And I think you gave yours, you illustrated it.
I gave mine.
Yeah, if you have any thoughts on that, any further thoughts.
Well, no, let me put my leg up and think about it.
Yeah. For the trolls out there and
and I almost took my shirt off. I have a sports bra on and I wear sports bras and tights all the time. So I'm a trainer because it got chilly in St. Louis. And so I turned my air up. So it wasn't, and I'm right here by this event and I didn't want the sound blowing in the camera.
Right.
And then with these lights that I have on, I'm like, whew.
Oh, it warmed up. Yeah. Yeah. Jeez, it got warm and
God forbid if I would have did that.
Yeah, it got cold in St. Louis. Wow, sheesh, man.
It's not
a little chilly.
Yeah, it's a little chilly. It's like an overcast. I mean, we've had like 103 heat, whatever. So no, it wasn't chilly. It's just what I had my air on. I had it on like it was a heat index of like 120 outside, and it was like 85. So,
I can dig it.
But I did want to put my leg up, as far as to sign off.
Yeah, relax. Yeah, definitely relax. And
I might put both of them up here.
That would be some shit. What I'm saying, put both of them up there. But
right.
Yeah, it's all in fun though with you guys.
No, it is.
The comments, fellas. It's cool. We appreciate it. But just think about when you type in. How are you feeling in the moment when you type in those things, man? Just re-examine those things. So with that being said, we appreciate you guys. Hit that like button one more time. Obviously, as I said, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Avery's channel. We're trying to get her up to 9,000 as soon as possible with the goal of 10K at a minimum. You know what I'm saying? We're pushing for that. We're coming at you with another topic here next week, God willing, another episode of Let's Talk About It. Yes. And, of course, we're going to end it with that. Make sure you guys follow Avery on Instagram as well. As she said, it'll also be in the description. Avery Woodley on Instagram. You can't mess it up. And like I said, it'll be in the description. I'm pretty sure it's not more than one. Is there more than one Avery Woodley on Instagram?
I don't know. I did have a few fake accounts, not me. People created, but you'll know.
Yeah, you'll see her on there. So
with my leg up.
Yeah, and if you want to book a session, if you want to book a session,
I want to say I appreciate though everyone in the comments, even if it's a comment that didn't agree with me or wanted to find something oh, she had her leg up. Well, I'm scratching these mosquito bites on my ankles because these tore my ankles up when I was outside yesterday. But no, I appreciate the love. I appreciate the hate or whatever you want to call it. And I just appreciate people showing up for our conversation. So much love to all of you guys and have an amazing rest of your week.
Absolutely. I basically piggyback off her comments as well. Like I said, follow Avery on Instagram. Also, if you want to book a session, you're looking for some advice, some coaching, make sure you guys hit her up. All her links are on there through her Instagram as well. Also, follow me on Instagram. I'll follow you back. Also, if you want to book a session, hit me up on Linktree. Also, I'm now doing coaching for YouTube. If you guys are trying to start your channel, expand your channel, know how to build your channel, how to do video editing, all those things like that, make sure you hit me up. The link is in the description as well as Linktree. Look forward to fellowshipping with you guys. Purchase all my books and merch. And with that being said, much blessings and abundance to you. Peace be upon you all. The mercy and blessings of the Almighty. I am JR Wisdom once again, and this is my lovely co-host,
Avery Woodley.
And we're going to catch you guys on the next one. You guys have been awesome. And thanks for tuning in. Until next time. Later.
Bye.